I feel like I almost slipped with my sobriety. And one time was I had the largest real estate company in the world. It could have been the most no-brainer defamation case ever.
What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the #1 mental health and addiction podcast, the Hopeaholics. I am your girl, Natalie Eva Marie, and these are my boys.
I'm Chad.
I'm at Shane Earn, baby.
Hell
Bash
yeah.
Brothers.
Make sure you guys like, subscribe, and follow us on our socials and wherever you get your podcasts.
And remember, new episodes dropping every Tuesday and Friday. Check them out.
This episode is brought to you by the Infinity Group. You guys, if you or a loved one is suffering, please call us today. The number is right here on the screen. We are here for you 24/7. Now, let's get into the episode.
All right, guys. Welcome to the Hopeaholics Podcast.
Yes,
We are live and rolling.
we are.
Rolling,
Any
right.
friend of Sahar's is a friend of ours.
Sahar's
That rhymes.
It does. You rhymed.
guys,
You rhymed.
Stoked
You
to
rhymed.
be here.
This is Kevin. Kevin,
Yes.
meet the group.
What's up, group?
Nice to have you, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, where are you from?
So I was born in Oakland.
Okay, Bay Area.
It's it.
Let's meet right
Yep,
here.
82. And lived all over the place. I went to a lot of different schools. Somehow managed to go to 17 different schools, and I only completed 11th grade. But yeah, I lived all over Southern California to Ohio and a lot of places in between, and here we are. Yeah.
What took you to 17 different schools? See, I'm the one that like kind of goes in.
This goes in hard
No, I
right
do.
off the bat.
I do.
No
That's what
worries.
it's all about.
Only like 3 of them were my fault. The rest was really my parents. You know, my dad was a bit of an underground entrepreneur, I guess you
Okay.
could say. He, I didn't know exactly what he did, but he would take off for a couple weeks and come home with a briefcase full of money, throw it on the bed. They'd take me out of school, and then we would always. I could never be in one place for like more than 3 months. You know, like people have those friends who are like, oh yeah, we've been friends since
Oh yeah.
second grade. I don't really have that. And then I remember there just being something chaotic happening in my house when I was around, I think 6 or 7. And my mom comes in and she's just like, hey, so there's gonna be some changes. You're, the next time you see Dad, maybe behind a glass. He's decided to go to fire school, so for safety. I'm like, gosh, my mom was super
Yeah.
witty, and so yeah, my dad got sentenced to about 20 years
Wow.
for cocaine trafficking, and he didn't have to do all those years, but you know, a lot of that traveling was. Going places where he was. So we moved to Chino because he was in,
Chino State Prison.
Yeah, that's it. And so, yeah, I wouldn't change it for the world though, because, it gave me a different way to learn how to connect with people, which worked well as I got older. But yeah, it was a crazy journey
Yeah.
for sure.
Do you have siblings?
I do. I've got a younger brother, younger sister.
Mm.
Yes, I'm the oldest of 3.
So how old were you when your dad went to prison?
The first time I was around 6. Yeah, 6 or 7.
And then how long was he gone for?
He ended up doing between 8 or 9 years
Wow.
off and on.
Mm.
So he would come back, and then, we lived on a farm in Ohio at one point. He had to change his name, and we had the same name. So for safety reasons, I had to go and
Oh, wow.
move to Ohio for what I thought would be a summer. Ends up being a couple years. Yeah, it was a wild way to grow up for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Before we dive deep into that, I want to ask you a question. What do you do today? What do you do today for a living?
For a living, I own a real estate brokerage called KASE. Yeah, a residential real estate brokerage that focuses on modern, contemporary architectural style homes, from the Palisades to Laguna Beach and beyond. We sell around 300 or so homes a year. That's what
Wow.
last year was.
Nice.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, bro.
Yeah, I've got an
Dang,
awesome
but it was like
team.
booming then during COVID when the market was.
And
like
that
just
last year was a
popping.
little bit of a slower year.
Right.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the first year since 2012 where we actually did a little bit less than the year before.
Wow.
But this year, it's already been back on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, it could feel it right away. January, it was immediately different.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
What do you think attributes to that?
And I have
Easy, buddy. Easy.
a podcast as well called Project Mindset.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so I've pretty much for the last 20 years just juggled between real estate and life coaching. The life coaching side was just always like a passion, just something I felt called to do. And then I decided to start my own brokerage. Officially, 2020 was our first official year. I had KASE since really 2012. But in 2020, that was the first year where it was like, you know what, I'm going to really, really, truly mesh these two worlds together. So I like to tell people that KASE is a real estate and personal development company where we work with people on their big vision, their big, their architecture of their life. And if that involves a home, cool. But if not, we're completely fine with just helping somebody get to that next level in life, even if that has nothing to do with a home.
That's actually kind of a cool spin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like anything that helps people get to the next level in life,
Yeah.
Totally.
That's kind of like what the Hopeaholics is all about.
Yeah.
Getting people to the next level in life. Just, offering people a little bit of hope, telling them how we do it,
Yeah.
and helping them find what's going to work for them and how they're going to get there. It's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I think so much of what we see is just the highlight reel and just, it's easy to kind of look at something and feel like you're so far away from doing that thing. I had a mentor who would always say that feeling like you have a long way to go simply means you're destined to go a long way. But if you don't have those people who are really speaking that into you and all you're doing is looking at everyone's highlight reel, that could get really depressing, And so I think a big part of finding hope and giving hope is helping people understand that being in the middle of a gigantic shit show, being absolutely frustrated and in total breakdown, cool. That's actually the moment. The darkest part of the night is right before the sun comes up. So that moment right there, good. That's where you're at. Cool. Where are we going from here? Because you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So to be able to give people hope and the insight that facing a struggle, dealing with the struggle, there's a miracle that's about to happen. Just gotta keep looking.
And there's a book. I know this. New pair of glasses.
New pair of glasses, yeah.
New pair of glasses.
Yeah.
The book.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically what he just did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I think especially in this day and age, especially for the younger generation, it's even more so just because it's so easy accessible. Like everyone attaches themselves to their phones, and so it's easy to kind of like get lost in this thing of I want to be where that person is at or this, that, and the other. Like you said, it's a highlight reel. You don't see the 10 years prior.
Yeah.
You get to see where that individual is at. Yeah. But nobody saw Michael Jordan when he was like, cut from the team and putting in all those hours. Nobody saw Kobe waking up at 3 a.m. and getting in X amount of practices other than, the guys were getting in maybe 1 or 2. He was getting in like 5.
Honest to God, I really didn't know that about Kobe Bryant until like the end of his career. That he put in all that work.
Yep.
How much work he actually put in. Like he never even talked about it until he was done. Like when he was done, then you see him on like these podcasts and these interviews and all the highlight reels that come up about Kobe, and you're like,
but that's
holy
why he's
shit.
savage.
Yep.
He got up at, and now that he's gone, you hear all of the players that either played in the Olympics with him, and they talk about how I thought I was getting up early and going to the gym, and Kobe was already eating breakfast after a full sweat, after a full workout.
Yeah,
and that type of stuff, and that's the stuff that, honest to God, gets me excited. But now that we know what you do for a living, now let's dive back in, because I know that your life hasn't always been easy. So let's jump back to the earlier days of your life and the struggles that you went through to get to where you are now.
Yeah, it's crazy thinking back like how we even survived. Like it's not like we were. So when all that stuff happened and my dad went away, we went from having like, it was just a celebration. It was just always a party. And when he was gone, we immediately were on welfare and living with different family members. And I'm the oldest of 3, so I have to now try to step up and help. But honestly, it didn't feel like a struggle necessarily. It was like my mom, she's Filipino. She knew how to create this feeling like that we were all gonna be okay.
Yeah.
There was food on the table.
That's a good Filipino mother.
That's it.
That's
She
their-
did what she needed to do.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I got to move out when I was 13. She let me move in with my best friend that I grew up skateboarding with.
Yeah.
So like, it wasn't like there were hard times when my brother and sister and I lived on different coasts. There were definitely hard moments. Or when I would go and visit my dad, and I spent a lot of my birthdays, like my 8th, 9th, 10th birthday, visiting him in different prisons. And there were moments where it's tough, but it's not like my whole upbringing was tough because I found things that brought me joy. Number one being skateboarding. That was like my ultimate greatest teacher. If it wasn't for skateboarding, I don't know what I would do. But skateboarding did come with a certain lifestyle where I started smoking really young and started getting drunk really young. I got arrested the first time in 7th grade.
Wow.
And I had such an attitude with the security guard. My dad was in prison. My mom's working like crazy. And I just remember the security guard being like, "Do you have any idea how much trouble you're in?" And I remember like it was yesterday. I was like, "No, tell me how much trouble am I in?" You couldn't tell me anything. I didn't give a F about anything. So they handcuffed me, walked me through the school. And that was like in 7th grade. That was cool. I just remember kids were like, "Free Keven." Like, that was cool.
Hell yeah.
And so it was like, because what's the worst that's gonna happen to me? So, but yeah, I got to move out and I think pretty early on, I like to take it to another level in terms of getting faded. Like pretty early on, like as soon as I found that, and it's just started with smoking weed, and then just the different, party drugs and whatnot. But I realized pretty early on that I liked to go there. I liked to go as far as I could. And there wasn't any type of education, that there was anything wrong with that, because that's what my hero did. That's what my old man did.
Yeah.
So, and when he got out, it was like we partied together.
Yeah.
So there's no examples of this being a bad thing. And then next thing you know, that party, you realize that there's another side of it. But I didn't start working on my sobriety till my dad passed away, which was in 2012.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I lost the 2 closest people in my life. I lost my best friend and my brother in May 2011, and then my dad.
Wow.
And that, when I lost my best friend, Memorial Day 2011, that really, I took a very, very dark downward spiral. And at that point, I had 2 kids. Like my life was improving. I had been in real estate for close to a decade, but there was always this roller coaster that I think came from my substance abuse, because I would get paid on a deal. So what do? You celebrate.
Yep.
And so when you celebrate, what happens? The business goes down and then you get back up.
Yep.
And I wasn't like intuitive or responsible or thoughtful enough to realize like, maybe all this partying has something to do with my roller coaster of income.
Yeah.
But my best friend who passed was like an icon. He was a true force in fashion and in streetwear, like one of the most extraordinary geniuses I ever could have known. His name was Jonas Bavakwa. He started a clothing company called LRG. And we got to experience life at this really
for sure.
incredible level
Yeah.
as, you know, when we met, he was renting an apartment, just trying to get by.
That gives me chills.
And next you know, 2004, 2005, and it is on a whole other wavelength.
Popping.
My best friend's
Yeah.
company is doing $150 million a year. We're just kids.
Yeah, that's wild.
And everybody was wearing it.
Oh yeah.
So there's no saying that this party's ever gonna end.
What's funny is people didn't like even know what. Not everybody knew what LRG even stood for, right? You know, like some
They just like the
they
design
just
and
like
like the
liked
logo.
the design. Not
Yeah.
everybody, but then there was a whole group of people that knew what
Yeah.
it was, and that's why they wore it.
Yeah.
So those were like your cult following,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
he you know, he was adopted, and he had several adopted brothers and sisters from all over the world. And so he grew up skateboarding, but also grew up surfing, grew up listening to punk, also grew up listening to hip hop. And his relationship to humanity and people was like, we're all one.
Yeah.
And back then, late 90s, it's like you have the big logo surf brand or the big logo surf skate brand or the punk clothing company or the hip hop clothing company. And his state of mind was like, no, I like all this. And that's what LRG was. And so he really had this ability to like bridge the gap between so many different influences. And it was so raw from his soul to be a part of that and to see it grow. It was like the craziest decade. So when I lost him, it just rocked me. He was like my best friend in the world, you know, and I was there after it happened. And, you know, I'm one of the only people who was like, you know, really saw him. And I couldn't get out of that for 6 months. My first daughter was born my daughter was born in October. We named her Azella Joni. You know, that's her nickname is from him. And that gave me this little glimpse of like, get your shit together.
Right.
But 2 months later, my dad passed away. And I maybe have $1,800 to my name. And my wife was not going to see me be the way that we were being with in front of these kids. I just couldn't shake it. And we split up. My daughter was maybe 4 or 5 months old. We split up in the beginning of 2012, a month or so after my dad passed away. And for the first time, it was just me by myself, nobody to blame, living in this crappy apartment. And I wanted to kill myself. Not even from a place of like misery, but just from a place of like, I need to leave my kids something, you know, and not even from a place of like being truly suicidal. Like it was just feeling so low and so empty and just so like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of snapped. And, you know, when my dad passed away, it's like we have the same name. And so he was only 49.
Wow.
Seeing my name on funeral papers mixed with all those emotions, it just made me really look at like, all right, what the hell am I going to do with my life? And in a span of like 12 months, everything shifted. Everything changed. I didn't start really working on my sobriety until 2013. It was like back and forth. All right, let me go 90 days. And I'd go 90 days, prove that I don't have this big issue. And then wrong place at the wrong time, big celebration. Mm-hmm. Okay, I do have this issue, 90 days.
Now, did you come to that conclusion yourself, or were people around you, your wife perhaps?
My wife was the only one.
Like, hey, you might have
my
a
wife
problem?
was the only one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because my family all like to party.
Yeah.
Everybody. Brother, sister, mom, we like to party.
Yeah.
So, you know, she was not going to have it. Yeah, and fortunately, she waited for me. We got married the same year we split up in the beginning of 2012. We got married at the end of 2012. But, you know, I was fated on our wedding night. And the 4th of July, 2013 was my first sober 4th of July in probably 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And I kept doing this 3-month to 6-month thing for 3 years, through 2014, through 2015. And it was like I was trying to find this little hack between how do I still get to party, but still get to be successful. And by 2015, my company, you know, I had $1,800 in my name at the beginning of 2012. And in 2015, the company that I started just 4 years prior, so we did over $104 million in real estate in a 4-year period. Bought a home, did this, the speaker at the blah, blah, blah convention, yada, yada. That following year, I'll tell this story. So in 2015, I had a whole bunch of goals that I wanted to achieve. One of them was and kind of the last one was to take my family back to the Philippines and stay at on this private island. And I had this vision. I had like literally that private island photo on my vision board. Middle of December that year, 2015, I'm there on this private island with my wife, my son Eli, my son Keven, and my daughter Azella, who is now like 3 years old. And I had the strangest feeling of emptiness in that moment. And I had been sober for 9 months at that period. I woke up super early in the Philippines, got on this little scooter, found the closest place that I could pound a beer, and just, I didn't understand why. Get back home, start smoking a little bit again, and it starts creeping back in. And it was April 27th, 3 or 4 months later, and I'm at this place. It was actually my assistant's at the time 21st birthday. He's going to the moon. And I just remember this moment where I was there with my brother, and I knew I was starting to slip. And he was holding a Jack and Coke, and I just grabbed it. And I pounded it. Next thing you know, it's 3 a.m. I have so many missed calls. I'm DJing a party
For sure.
by myself. And then I just woke up in the morning. I actually remember going home that night, which that night was like 5:36 in the morning, and I felt like I was going to have a heart attack. I could like feel, it felt like there was a balloon in my heart. And I just literally went and got on my knees, and I'm just like, God, if you could just help me get through this night, I promise I will never do this again. I woke up, I told my wife, I surrender. I'm done. And I didn't go through AA. I went through counseling and some other things. And so, this April is 8 years.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's huge. So you never went to treatment or anything like that?
Mm-mm. Maybe I kind of went to treatment all those times I kept screwing up and then got yelled at by my wife for a full day. That was the treatment. You know, disappointing my son. I remember this one time, Alana, my wife, telling me that, like, you know, Eli saw you passed out on the driveway. And he thought you were dead. And that was like 2013. And he's crying to me. I'm like, what the fuck? What? And so the signs were there. Yeah. But I couldn't. It had to be my choice. She wanted that, but I was like, if you talk to my wife in 2013, 2014, me being sober is the last thing. Never would have happened. But I got enough scientific data to prove, you got the results, dude.
Yeah.
And the results aren't looking good.
The results are in. This doesn't work.
You keep going down this path, and you're done.
Well, and kind of like the way I looked at it, I'm a high school dropout. I didn't get my GED, didn't get my diploma, but I do have the ability to look at things really in a very simple way. And I like to look at everything on a scale 1 to 10. Everything from where I eat, everything is 1 to 10. And so I feel like when my life was kind of whatever, and I'm operating at a 3 or a 4, and you get super faded and you get to go to a 10, all right, cool. Well, that is a 6 to 7 point jump. Yeah. Awesome. That's twice as high as where I'm at. But as I started to work on my sobriety a little bit and naturally got my life to a 6, 7, 8, and then you get faded, and I got the 2-point jump, but when I drop down to a 2.
Yeah.
Well, now my drop is twice as high as the high. This isn't adding up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just needed enough data to back that up, and the 3 years was enough.
I think it's so fascinating to me because, it doesn't matter who you talk to that is either an alcoholic or an addict. I feel like everybody has the same similarity in the sense of initially we're all trying to get the code.
Yeah.
Right?
I was thinking the same thing when he was talking
Yeah,
about
me too.
cracking that code
Yeah.
because I went back out and tried to crack that code.
So did I.
I thought because I had money now
Yeah.
that I could
Figure it
crack
out.
it, that it would work,
I
be
didn't
different.
even have money when I did. I just thought that I was just knew everything and I graduated.
You got 3
I was
years,
just
you
like,
were good.
I'm
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I know everything. I got this.
That voice comes in now. Dude, you got 8 years. You're not gonna screw
That's what
it
I
up.
wanted to ask you.
You got 8 years. You're good now. You can
Right.
drink some wine.
Yeah.
And weed's legal.
Yeah, weed's legal now. Shit.
Yeah.
What do you do today to maintain that void? Because you had mentioned that you were basically at a spot with your family, something that you had envisioned, you had manifested it, you had put it on your vision board, and now you actually got there. And then you were there and you were 9 months sober, and then all of a sudden you were just had this emptiness inside of you.
Yeah.
That's when you picked up and you started drinking again. So now today, what do you do on a daily basis to not have that void?
So that moment, I think a really important part of that story is that when I woke up, it was like, well, why did I do that? Because got the accolades, bought my family a home. I just bought my mentor's car off of him, my dream car, shipped it from Seattle, all in the same few months. I just spoke in front of 10,000 people. I'm being a good father and blah, 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 blah. Why on planet Earth would I risk it all? What was missing? And I live my life by something called the 7 equities. So the 7 equities is mind, body, soul, family, friends, business, and money. So I went back to the 7 equities. I'm like, mindset, yep, I got that. I'm healthy. Spirit, I almost kind of skipped that one. Family, friends, business, money. And I was skipping the spiritual equity. My mind was strong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm healthy, but I was skipping over the spiritual equity, even though I've been raised Christian. And, my grandpa he passed away in 2018, but he started the first Spanish Lutheran ministry, just like an icon. There's been books written after him. And so the faith has always been there, but I was skipping over that equity. And so that's what I had to realize I was missing. No matter how many affirmations I do, no matter how clear I get on this vision board, no matter how many marathons I run,
Totally.
or compete in an Ironman or whatever, no matter how successful, even no matter how present of a father and husband I am, if I don't have a real sincere connection with myself and with God, and if I'm not connected spiritually, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So implementing spiritual practices has really been the foundation. And I think even that in itself, I try to find hacks around.
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
affirmations and running. That
Totally.
should be plenty.
Yeah.
But there's a spiritual equity of really knowing who you are and knowing who God is. And love is spelled Time. So if I really love the Lord and if I really believe, then I need, well, what does my schedule show?
Totally.
How much time? So now these days I have a practice, today I think was a day 170 something of every single day where I go through this prayer, plank, and plunge process. I don't miss a
Nice.
day.
You're speaking our language.
That's
Yeah,
it.
that's-
Straight up.
That's what we do
Yeah.
over here.
Every day.
Every day.
Yep.
Every day.
Every day I get
Okay,
up.
I can't say every day I don't plunge because my plunge is at my house.
I would have to figure it out. I would have to go somewhere. When I
Well-
was in Hawaii, we were getting the ice Me and my son, we were just grabbing the ice and just throw it in the tub.
You know who plunges every single day?
Who's that?
And he's on the road all the time.
Who's that?
Mark Wahlberg. Dude. Obviously, he's got money.
Yeah.
Disgusting money.
Disgusting.
He pretends like he pours a bag of ice into
Mark, you're not.
Mark, you're not the one putting the ice in the fucking ice bath.
Yeah. Homeboy has a busy ass schedule and is doing the deal and
every day,
looking great.
Every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to. I think now to stay on that same wavelength, it's two things. One, it's those practices.
Yes.
I cannot
totally agree.
If I don't go through my morning routine and get a run in, get the plunge in, get the prayer, and I'm showing up like a 6 or a 7.
100%.
And I can't pour into everybody. If I try to, I'm gonna get worked. I know it. And so that's a big part of it. The other part of it is to continue elevating and experiencing growth and progress. I think when I was doing stuff before, we were going there, getting that high, because we wanted to experience a high. And so you take that out, if you don't fill up that energy with something else, you're gonna get bored. It's gonna happen
for sure.
And that's what kept happening to me is like, all right, I took this out, but I didn't fill it with anything else where I was chasing it the way I was chasing that high. And so it's the combo of those two things: the morning preparation with my prayer, the plank, the plunge, the working out, and then simultaneously dreaming as psychotically big as possible to the point where I'm super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty uncomfortable because of how big the goals are, to the point where I'm like, I'm not sure if this is that healthy.
Right.
Because it does put me in a very uncomfortable space where my wife has to check me. Like, I love that. At the end of last year, I was like depressed for like 72 hours because it was the first year in 10 years where we went just a tiny bit below. Like, we, in 2022, we did 430 million in volume. Last year, I did 403, and I was an absolute breakdown. And my coach was like, and we finished number 3 out of like 30,000 groups in Orange County. He's like, do you realize you're in massive breakdown and you've done quadruple what you did just 3 years ago? But to me, that's part of what keeps me going. Yeah. If I'm not getting my ass kicked, if I'm not trying to be winning all the time. I'm not learning anything from winning all the time. I'm learning when I'm getting uppercut. I learn when I take a gigantic L. And that's where I'm like, fuck. And if I'm always winning, that means I'm playing too small. So, but my wife needs to check me. She's like, hey, everything's okay.
Right. Yeah.
It's all good.
But it's I get it, man. I this is my life. The language you're speaking right now is my brain every day.
I'm uncomfortable on vacation.
Yeah. I don't like vacation.
I'm like, okay.
I went to Italy.
Chill.
I went to Italy last May, and it was the longest 10 days. Fucking
I haven't done a 10-day. My wife and I we did like a 4-day.
I do 4 days.
Oh.
5 days. See, here's my thing. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I'm back to work on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I leave Thursday morning. Maybe Thursday.
You don't really leave mentally.
Yeah.
No, but if I do a 5-day,
you're okay.
I'm okay, because like my world will not shatter in 5 days.
Yeah.
10 days, I mean, it's probably still not going to shatter.
It's not going to shatter.
Yeah.
But like, it's
tough to detach, though.
I don't want to detach.
Well,
I don't want to detach.
That's a challenge too, right? Like, I love the work. Yeah.
I do
love
too.
what I do.
I do better when I'm busy and I'm working.
Yeah.
My husband is, I don't live here.
Right.
I live in Texas.
You don't?
But I don't.
Fools me.
Which is crazy. That's why my
Seems
God
like
is
she
hilarious.
lives here, doesn't it, Shane?
She does.
Yeah.
I am. But I love working. I really do. And what's really wild is I've been married for a decade and we have never taken a vacation, or we didn't even go on a honeymoon because I was on the road at the time.
Yeah.
And I had to go right to work after we got married. the next
Yeah,
day.
because it was on Total Divas.
Right. So
Yeah.
like I've done a lot of cool
She got
things.
married on TV,
I
But
saw the dress you recently pictured with your mom there.
I did.
Yeah, it was nice.
and you had a wig on.
Guys,
Oh, did
so
you?
you're going off derailing.
Did she? I didn't notice that.
She had a
Jeez.
black wig on.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I had to have my dad walking me down the aisle. Had to have my natural hair color.
Oh.
He couldn't walk down some crazy colored hair.
Right.
But we've gotten to experience those things, but we enjoy them because we're working while we're at those places.
Right.
And so I do have like family and close friends always kind of nudging me and telling me how crazy I am and that I need to learn how to balance and be able to recharge and take a break. But I know myself, and I really feel like when I do that, like if I'm not busy or if I'm not working, then I'm stuck in my head thinking about things that aren't even true.
Yeah.
I'm like configuring stuff that doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
So I feel when you're super driven about something, pedal to the metal, baby.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where we learn the most about ourselves too, is when we're in inspired action.
Oh, for sure. Oh my, Sanders says it. I'm gonna butcher it, but basically, he had said, so don't come after
No,
me if I'm
we're
saying
coming
this.
after you.
Yeah, don't. But basically, the life that he has created for himself, he doesn't want to take a vacation from. And I'm like, yeah,
That's
brother.
fire.
Nice.
Fire.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
fire.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
100%, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, if somebody's telling me that I'm crazy, that means that I'm on the right path because I'm not doing what the norms are doing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not like them. I've never really been like them.
Yeah.
You know, I was a bad drug dealer though. I was not a good one. Thank God I was.
That's because you were a user too.
Huh?
Bro. That's because you were a user too.
Hey, there's some people that use.
no,
and
you can't. You can't.
You had to
keep
break. You had
going.
to break even.
Your dad
Yeah.
ever do
Game
coke?
plan.
Your dad ever do coke?
Yeah, we did together.
Yeah,
That was the
so
first time.
So his dad.
When I was like
did coke
14.
Yeah.
and sold coke.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
wound up in prison.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's
Yeah,
like the
there you
whole.
go.
That's where the whole like.
Yeah,
even
But
nobody
he made some cash in between.
in the
Yeah.
game, they say don't get high off your own supply.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I
It's
couldn't follow.
because
That's the
of
10
those
the 10
reasons.
crack
How'd he die? How'd he
commandments
die?
by
Exactly.
How'd he die? 49 heart attack. How'd he die?
Yeah, he really just drank himself
Yeah.
to death. You know, the coke was always there. Like it was always around the
Yeah.
house. It would be wrapped up in these little dollar bills, and they would have these crazy parties. I just,
God.
you know,
I remember those days.
I would be
Yeah.
in
Wrapped
heaven.
up in the dollar bill. You
That
used
was
to
like-
buy
yeah, he had a
Dang.
night.
Really?
a
He had,
gram in the dollar bill. They used to fold it up nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, make a little packet out of it.
In Canada.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
he had some nightclubs that he was a part of. I mean, in that era of like mid 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
the
know,
80s
that's like-
cocaine too was
Yeah.
way better than anything
yeah.
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. And so when he got out of prison, we had this like crazy 3-day experience together. He gets out and we drive from LA to Ohio together. And we're just catching up. And then we finally get to Ohio. He's like, "Oh, fill me in, what's everything? What's this whole story? I don't even know if I could tell this whole story, but it was like the craziest experience of my life. I'll tell it to you guys real quick. So, and this is crazy because I met my wife in 8th grade, and
Wow.
and I was like so in love with her. She wasn't having me at that time. It took another decade to
Oh
manifest.
my
but
goodness, that's crazy.
so I meet her, and then my dad gets out, and we have to go to Ohio. I'm like, "Are you kidding me right now?"
So you met her when you were living in what, California?
Yeah, I lived in Glendora.
Okay.
My mom and brother and sister and I moved in with my aunt. My
Okay.
aunt has 5 daughters, and my daughter her daughter that's my age, my cousin Marjo, she's like, "Hey, I want you to introduce you to my best friend." There's like no Filipino people in
Wow.
Glendora
Was
at
that
the
same
time.
girl?
And she's like, "But don't screw it up because we've been telling everybody at the school that we're cousins for like 3 years. So she's your cousin." I'm like, "All right, whatever."
Oh my.
I go to the school and I meet her. I'm like, I'm not going to say that girl is my cousin. Like, holy, like she's the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen.
Wow.
Was not having anything to do with me because I was about to ruin their lie. I went around to everybody at the school, told everybody, "Hey, vote for Alana for Best Smile." Just as like my way
Yeah.
to hit up,
Yeah.
vote for Alana for Best Smile. She would have probably won anyways, but she did win. So I have to go with my dad to Ohio. and there's some girl with us. We get to Ohio. I leave our hotel, and I come back from the hotel, and my dad and this girl are like he's about to throw this girl off of the balcony. I'm like, okay. I left, came back, and it was just me and him for 3 days. I'm like, where did she go? I was like, screw her. Then we end up at some other girl's house on some farm, and we're just getting faded for like 3 days straight. I'm 13, 14 years old.
Oh, damn.
Asking me what I've tried, what I've done. He's like, you ever done coke? No. Curious about it? Kinda. I'll have some. Like, did you just get out? Try that. And then I remember he had a pager, and he gets a page, and he calls a number. It's like 3:34 in the morning, and it's that girl. And she's like, hey, so sorry, blah, blah, blah. Can you come pick me up at this gas station? My dad hangs up, and he's like, something's weird about that. We get in the car. I remember what I was wearing. I remember everything. We drive to some random gas station in Kentucky. The sun's starting to come up. We pull into this gas station, and then
Oh, my God.
just bombarded. Cop car, cop
Holy.
truck. Get the fuck out of the car. They're going to put your hands up. And my dad's like slowly reaching in my pocket. There's some money in there. Do whatever you need to do to get home. They take my dad.
Damn.
I had my board, my Game Boy. They took me, and I'm just sitting in the front lobby of this police station in Ohio. And the moment I could, I ran out of the police station, skated as fast as I could, called my mom. She's like, "I'll fly home, da-da-da." I'm like, nope. Paid somebody to get me a bus ticket because I wanted to keep that money. So yeah, 13, 14 years old, took a bus home by myself from Ohio.
So you were born a natural just entrepreneur, figure it out solutions.
just
Like,
figure it
that's
out.
wild.
Fight or flight, like,
Damn.
I don't know what that story has to do with anything, but
You had to ask.
It's a
well,
good,
it's, like,
it's a good
piggyback
war
on-
story.
Yeah.
And you know what I like though, because what's kind of cool about your story is the fact that you never had, and I don't know about your mom and anything, but it doesn't seem like anybody ever told you that you need to go to college, you need to get a job, you need to have a 401k, you need to just live this regular average life. And
Yeah.
I don't see that. You know what I'm saying, Shane? Like
I know exactly what you're saying, Chad.
no, seriously.
I swear to God, my parents
because
were
your parents
pushing
tell you
that all
that.
the time. 401k, get a job, make it safe, be secure,
Be safe.
be
Yeah.
safe, be
Yeah.
safe,
Be safe. Be
Yeah.
safe.
And there's no freedom and safety.
no, my mom is like a mix of like Oprah, Tony Robbins, and Deepak all
Yeah.
put together, and a little bit of Tupac, all kind of put
Yeah.
together. Just an amazing soul. But we were trying to figure things out together.
Yeah.
We were doing well together, and then going broke together. There were times where I'm living with her, she's living with me, and it was a journey and a process. But like, and also both of my parents, if there's one thing that I learned from both of them, it was like, you got to believe in yourself, and it's going to be a fight.
Yeah.
You got to fight. So.
And he had a lot of love. It seems like even though the father was going through shit, his father still showed you a lot of love.
Oh man, the letters that I have
You
from
know?
my dad are from prison are my
Yeah.
most prized
So
possessions.
in this situation, I mean, let's face it, using with your father at 13 is not the most ideal situation, but he had an easy forgiveness with his father because of the love his dad showed him.
Yeah.
In another situation, another pair of glasses, there's not that much love from the father. He grows up with resentments, the
Totally.
whole other ball game at that point.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
good for you for having that love from your dad and putting that at the front.
Yeah, he was an amazing individual. There was a story that I read somewhere that talked about if you talk to any president that we've ever had has had a sibling that's done time, and if you talk to the president and ask him, how did you become,
Yeah.
they'll all bring this up. If you knew who my parents were, if you knew who my dad was, you knew who my mom was, you'd understand how I became president. Then you talk to their sibling who's a mess.
Yeah.
Well, the sibling will say, well, yeah, if you knew who my dad was, if you knew who my mom was, you'd understand.
Well, I'm a mess.
Yeah.
So, I think my parents taught me perspective. My dad would be writing me these letters from prison, and it's like, hey, just so you know, like, I'm getting healthier in here. I'm praying in here.
Mm-hmm.
They let me manage the library, And then no matter what I was going through with my mom, I never saw her in breakdown. We were on welfare. We were trying to figure things out, but she was always trying and striving. And now she lives this beautiful life. She's married to the healthiest old man I've ever met. Her husband James is like, how old is James? James is like 70 something and is the healthiest dude ever. Can smoke me in a 5K like nothing. And they have this beautiful life.
So your parents did get divorced?
My parents got divorced when I was like 13.
Oh, okay.
You know, a lot of abuse between my parents that I witnessed. Verbal, some physical, but just bad stuff, you know, that I saw together. And when they proposed getting a divorce, I'm like, please, yes.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? This is horrible.
Yeah.
I'm trying to stay together for
Yeah.
you. What?
Right.
Why?
Right.
Making it worse.
Stop.
Yeah.
You know.
But I love your story because piggybacking what Shane said, you know, sometimes people can grow up the way that you have, and you know, unfortunately your dad went to prison when you were a young boy, going into being a young man, and then individual could have had a different perspective and totally use that as just the crutch of being a mess and miserable and in their addiction of whatever that may be, whatever vice, to not excel in life because of the way that they were brought up, instead of not looking at it at all like that and becoming who you are today.
Yeah. It's been an education for sure, and still like a constant education, still being aware of like there's still current vices that could not be healthy.
Sure.
You know, there's things could transfer into a different way to feel a certain way that's not healthy. Like what I've spent on cars over the last 5 years is pretty embarrassing. And it's like, well, why am I doing that? Mm-hmm. You know, I keep joking with my wife that I'm this close to getting a minivan, and she's like, I'm not going to drive it. and but that's been a new thing. So it's like certain energies that can transfer in terms of like that addictive personality, where I'm like, that's something I need to work on. Over here, yep, that's something I need to work on. I don't think it never stops.
Yeah.
You know, the challenges that we'll have, the things that we might use to try to make us feel a certain way. Whereas these days, I'm really doing my best to practice like less is more.
Yeah.
What can I do to have as little as possible in my day-to-day and feel as abundant and good as possible, and inspire other people to not need this or not need that, and to operate at your full potential without needing anything besides that little hour hookup that you do every single day.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's huge.
Yeah, and I think it's huge even like on social media, you know, like most of the stuff you see on social media today is people flexing on what they have.
Yeah.
Who knows if they even really have it? Because I've been like seeing a lot of shit lately, and I'm like, I guess people can
fake numbers.
No, people can rent out this airplane for like fucking
That's
15
nuts.
minutes to go take
That's
pictures.
craziness.
They rent
They're
cars.
not actually flying it?
No.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's crazy. Like, to me, that's
It's sitting in a hangar in Long Beach, I guess.
That's so wild.
Yeah, flexing. You know, these
wild.
especially like these like fitness coaches.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to say any by name. Some of them are cool as fuck, but some of them I'm just like, dude, why are you flexing so hard?
That must feel really empty too.
Yeah.
There's
you
no
know,
God.
to put like who you are becoming into this person that you are, like in the luxury real estate space, you have at least I think for most people, and I think this is why a lot of people have been attracted to my company, is that there's such this level of like make-believe prestige that you need to, if you're going to sell multi-million-dollar homes, you literally have to be perfect. You had to go to this school, you have to dress this way, you have to talk this way. How many people are really like that?
None.
And so somebody like myself that grew up on welfare, inner city LA, high school dropout, father in prison, I never thought that selling crazy real estate where I'm engaging with people who are multi-billionaires,
Yeah.
I would ever be able to relate to that. And then you realize none of that matters. None of that matters. If I could get myself to believe that I am capable of this and that I am skilled enough to do this, that's all that matters. And I've been able to enter an industry showing my tattoos, being honest and upfront that I have had issues in the past, being totally okay that I'm a high school dropout, totally open with my story, and get in and reach high levels of luxury real estate in Orange County.
Yeah.
This place where you have to put on this face like you are
Sure.
so this and that. But I'll tell you, it's been an absolute battle. My attorney knows. It has been a war of energy trying to stop what I'm doing.
Of course.
Yeah. And I'm
What
all for it.
happens.
Do you have a really good attorney?
I have the world's greatest attorney on the planet. She is a real life superhero.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like
For
legit
sure.
superhero. Sahar is from a different
Planet.
Oh,
planet.
Yeah. That's why I'm obsessed with her.
Yeah.
I love her.
Yeah, we've gone to war together.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
She's a beast.
She is a
Hopefully,
weapon.
I don't ever have to go to war with her.
Yeah, me
Or-
neither.
or with
me
her.
neither. I need.
But
she
if I-
needs to be
but-
on my side, on my
But the
team.
thing is that
forever.
if I do have to go to war, you know, she's the attorney that I would want to go to war with.
Absolutely.
But
you know?
usually that always means when you are on the path of greatness or excellence or doing something that is above and beyond, that's when the devil wants to come and either talk some negativity or something in your mind, so that all of a sudden it puts a little glimmer of like like lack of self-belief,
Yeah.
or little obstacles that really are just a little blocking something in the road
Yeah.
that you just got to pivot and either hop over
Yep.
or you bust the right.
100%.
That's it.
Or
You
you
just gotta
just
keep
bust
going.
right through it.
Yeah.
Or
Like
bust
he'll
right
make
through
it.
it.
He'll make something that's this small, and I'm not talking about God. I'm talking about the devil.
Yeah.
He'll make something that's like this small seem like a fucking big ass
Yeah.
monster to you.
Yeah, 100%. There's only been 2 times that I could think of, 2 seasons where I feel like I almost slipped with my sobriety. And one time was I had the largest real estate company in the world. It could have been the most no-brainer defamation case ever. Tried so hard to cancel me with the most ridiculous joke. It was such a joke. And these are individuals that I look up to.
Sure.
These are like my heroes. I never really followed sports, so these are like my Michael Jordans. And and my friends, and to try to take this opportunity and destroy my career, I had to really, really like stay close to God, stay close to my wife. And, you know, with my attorney, Sahar, it was like, what should we do? And the idea was, you know what, let's just let it ride for a little bit. Let's see if it just starts to kind of dwindle away and just kind of, and it did, you know, and that season passed, and without even doing anything, it worked in my favor. So I think you have to trust that it's not going to be a storm forever. These feelings,
sure.
these emotions that come in, if you can just ride through the storm and keep the right people close to you and let people know that you're going through this storm and stay strong and know that it's a moment of weakness and do not crack. That was one time. The second moment was after my last of 5 kiddos was born. She was born December 13th, 21. And we immediately went into ICU. We lived at Chalk.
Wow.
And my wife, I'd have to go home, and my wife and I would switch, and then I'm staying the night at Chalk. So we go home, take care of the kiddos, and then I was the one who was driving back to Chalk every night. And that was where the voice was the strongest. Like the liquor store signs were brighter. All these weed store signs were brighter. It's like, dude, you're by yourself every night. The voice was so loud to the point where it was like funny. I was like, wow. And so I think you just have to be aware of that. In times of weakness, like you said, that's when the devil's going to try to strike.
For sure.
Yeah.
I always when all that stuff's starting to happen, I'm like, damn, I must be really on to something right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting attacked like
Yeah.
really, really hard.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wow, and sometimes it, that negativity that looks for just whatever little crack you have in your armor. And that's why I like what you do. And that's why, we all do this morning God routine to keep our spiritual, side strong, knowing that, greatness is right around the corner.
Well, it's really tough to have it just be you.
Oh, for
like
sure.
if it's just you and your mindset, just your mindset.
I run my shit into the ground.
I'm loaded.
Yeah.
I'm fucking loaded.
Yeah.
I did that before.
Yeah.
Like, I went from homeless to a very successful owner in the addiction treatment community, to being very well known as a young man in his 30s to fucking loaded.
Yeah.
And it was the most miserable, embarrassing, shameful, dark time I ever had to walk through in my life, with people just, and at this time it was like people just chattering too, and then when I got clean, and it was like, he shouldn't be doing this anymore. He can't, he shouldn't be helping people. And you know what? I just put my head down. I fucking put my, my earplugs in. And I didn't listen to another word that anybody said. And I did my own thing, and I kept building, and I kept building my business. And in 7 years, it was bigger than it ever was.
Right.
And, and then on this September 11th of 2022, and I stayed out of the limelight. September 11th of 2022, I got a phone call at 7:30 a.m. from my daughter that she had just found her fiance, my son-in-law, dead from fentanyl. And that's how this
changed our lives.
Yeah,
that's our trajectory
changed her life, changed our lives.
Yeah,
completely changed the direction that I was going. And he said, you're ready to be back out in the spotlight, and we're gonna make some change. We're gonna make a difference in this world.
That's beautiful.
And we're gonna continue helping people.
It's awesome.
And it's been fucking pretty awesome. Huh?
Yeah, you guys are doing it. Like I said, this is the first time for me that I ever went a little bit deeper in terms of my sobriety. There's been certain sources that have kind of reached out, but I feel like there's a weird agenda behind it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm good.
It's also too, you have the mic. It's, you get to say, like, we don't edit, so it's not like we're going to try to cut it up and do anything weird or make it look a different way, which I totally understand not talking about it previously as much, just because you don't know. And you had previous, like, interactions with people that you work with that you were your peers or people that you looked up to. When you were telling that story, I was thinking that God was showing you who is not for you and who not to take with you on your rise.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes, there's a lot of people out there that don't want the best for you.
Right.
And it's important to notice those signs as well, because it could be a downfall also,
100%. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think I just want to be an example to people to not give up. Right, to not give up on your goals and not give up on your dreams, but also not give up when you're in moments of despair.
Sure.
Right? Like, it took me 3 years to get sober. That there was a lot of mistakes in there. There was probably 3 or 4 times a year. So there was over a dozen times where I made the commitment to something and I bombed.
Yeah.
Because the commitment was there. All right, I'm going to do it. And slipped. Okay, I'm going to, around 12 times. And so I think, I would just want to encourage people to know that you have to be really aware of what's good for you and what's not good for you. And just try. Just keep trying. If you fall off 100 times, keep trying. Because as long as I'm alive, I'm going to continue fighting for what I believe is best for my family and I. And if I drop the ball, I'm going to pick it right back up.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stop. As long as I'm here, I'm going to continue being the best example I possibly can of inspiration and hope and going for it and chasing your dreams. And a huge part of that is falling flat on your face.
For sure.
If you're not falling on your face, you're not trying.
And the constant. Let's not forget your constant. I mean, that's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Let's make sure people out there know that are starting out, struggling.
Yeah.
You have to have that constant. What is that?
Yeah.
For you, it was God.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. And like my son, Kaizen, he's 15. His name literally means constant and never ending improvement. Wow. So Kaizen, and to see him like living into that has been a beautiful thing. But yeah, without God, it ain't happening. I can think about positive things. I can visualize positive things, and I can work my ass off. I work, everybody knows I outwork everybody at my office. But without God,
there's no appreciation when you get
not
there.
happening.
Well, you're empty.
It's not happening.
Yeah,
it doesn't.
It's not happening.
Yeah.
You're not feeling.
Just move on
it's
to the
crazy.
next task.
Yeah.
Well, we're spiritual beings.
Yeah.
And not everybody wants to believe that, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
And whether you're wealthy or not, there's many people that have a ton of money that have nothing that I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing
for sure.
that I
Oh
want.
yeah.
Totally.
100%.
Yes.
And there's people that are broke who are just amazing human beings. And it's and the thing is that I want to offer hope to everybody, because it's like if you just keep on moving forward and you don't give up, you will get to where you're wanting to go. But the thing that people that I want people to not focus on is the destination. And enjoy this fucking journey.
Yeah.
Enjoy this ride. Enjoy falling down. Enjoy getting back up. Enjoy the good times. Like, love the hard times.
Yeah.
Like, fall in love with the hard times, because that's where the most growth is happening. And when it seems the darkest, like, it's actually the times right before the light.
100%.
It never
Absolutely.
feels
Like
like
what
it.
you said
Yeah.
in the beginning, man. It's like
brutal.
it's always darkest before the dawn.
Yeah.
Like, my darkest days were, pitch black hell. And, right after those has been this life that I've been living for the last coming up on 8 years as well.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I like to say that contrast creates clarity. That those moments that I went through growing up, not having the connections of like longtime friends, always having to move to different areas, always being the new kid, not being close to my brother and sister, being on different coasts, living in a home without electricity, not knowing, and even a lot of the financial breakdowns I went down as a parent.
Yeah.
All those struggles is where I found strength.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it so much more.
For sure.
And on top of that, though, I know if I bomb, it's not going to be very comfortable, but I could move my family, my one oldest son's already out of the house, my 4 kids, and my wife, and we could stay at my mom's little condo that she has. She has one extra room, and the 6 of us will hang out in this little room, because I'm not going to slip on my faith. I'm not going to slip on my sobriety. I'm not going to stop running. I'll be right back up. Might take me another 18 months, but I'll be back.
Yeah.
And I think to know that in your worst case scenario, I always encourage people, go to your worst case scenario, then play around with it, because I'm constantly coaching people. What are you afraid of? Well, I'm afraid of this. And then what happens then? Well, then I lose my job. Okay, then what happens then? Well, then I got to go work at a grocery store. Okay, well, then what happens then? Well, then I have to live with my family. Are you going to die? Will you pick back up? Yeah. So then you don't have anything to be afraid of then. And I think if you can operate today without any fear,
Yeah.
then the sky's the limit. You know, why not go for it? If you're afraid of falling on your face, but then if you can hang out with the fact that, like, even if you fall on your face and you have to move back to some random place, you're not gonna die, and you will pick yourself back up.
Sure.
As long as you keep your faith, your family, your health intact,
Mm-hmm.
all is gonna be well. What do you have to be afraid of?
Right. You know the acronym for fear, right?
Yeah.
There's two. It's two.
Yep.
And this is the glasses thing, Shane.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
You can fuck everything and run,
Yep.
or you can face everything and recover.
Mm.
You know.
Yeah.
You can use fear as a good thing. Like
Yeah.
you can walk through life.
Yeah.
You can walk through things in fear,
Yeah.
but that's also called something else, right?
Yeah.
Walking through things in fear, you know. Face everything and recover. Walk through it.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Like walk through the pain.
Got to.
You have to.
You have to.
Yeah.
But you know what? I also want to give compliments to your wife, because I feel like having a solid partner
Yeah.
that is
Oh yeah.
able to not only ride with you, but also tell you, like, hey,
Important.
check you on your shit.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel it's very difficult for family, whether it's siblings or your parents, watching a full-blown alcoholic or addict not become sober.
Yeah.
And they want it so bad for them because they can see it clear as day. But as we all know, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Yeah.
It has to be upon that individual to make that decision themselves. And
Right.
that, I feel like, is extremely difficult for an individual. And clearly it sounds like she's an incredible woman. So
Oh yeah. I would not be sober if it was not
Yeah.
for her. And although I did it for myself, she's 50% of me.
sure. Yeah.
So,
Teamwork.
you know, like, I want to be great for her. And as I was, you know, working on it through 2013, 2016, if I slipped a little bit, it was the biggest deal.
Yeah.
Like, if I just smoked a tiny little bit, she would know. She could tell in the tone of my voice.
Yeah.
She would be so bummed out. And I'm like, oh my, it's not even that big of a
Oh my God,
deal.
my husband will check me if I'm not, like, because I work a 12-step
Yeah.
AA program. He will check me if I'm not hitting my meetings,
Right.
because he can tell in, like, either my tone or just my demeanor or anything like
Yeah.
that. And I'm just like, fuck, get off me, you know. But it's what I need, because I need someone to be able to check me.
Yeah.
And obviously, you know, I am sober for myself, and for it has to be because of me individually, but also because now that I've, you know, put some time together, I want to continue to make not only my husband but my parents and my family proud,
Mm.
you know, of the person that I've become and continued to become, because I couldn't say that before.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Well, I think when you stop living for yourself, right? It's to we only have so much time here. Like, it goes by in a blink. You know, as I'll be 42 next month, and I start to think, like, okay, well, optimum health.
Sure.
Where how many years you get to live at your optimum health? They say, like, late
Totally.
60s. Okay, you know, you're still fine. Like,
Shane,
my
How long? How long do we get to live at optimal health?
No, it's so true. My
So-
whole motto is health is wealth. man.
yeah.
I'm thinking 80s because I'm 60.
No, you're not.
Dude, I have an uncle that was in his 90s
Yeah.
and
He was
still
still
but he
going.
was so active,
Yeah.
like savage.
Like, my stepdad James is
That's
an
what I was gonna
absolute.
say. He's in his 70s,
He's an
right?
absolute savage. But I asked him, at what point did you start to and
Sure.
Beast? What point did you start to feel
Mhm.
it was something was shifting? And he said his late 60s. So if it's like, you know, he's still an absolute weapon. But I
Yeah.
mean, how many years? So then I think about that. I'm like, okay, so then I got about 30 summers.
Wow.
A summer, like.
And here's the thing.
Ugh.
Here's the other thing about it.
That's
'Cause
scary.
You're 42. I was just 42. I blinked
Mhm.
and I just turned 50.
Mm.
I literally blinked, and I'm like, holy shit. When Donna and I got together, I was 42 years old.
Wow.
And now
Yeah.
I used to talk about my son will get to vote in the 2024 election because he'll be 18 and I'll be 50.
Yeah.
Well, guess what?
We're here.
My son is 18.
Yeah.
He's a registered voter, and I'm 50.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was just the other day, I was just changing my kid's diaper. And now he's one of the top real estate agents in the city of Costa Mesa.
That's awesome.
Dope.
You know what I mean?
So
and it's
cool.
just like, that was just the other day.
Yeah, you got to be proud.
No, I'm so proud of my kids. I'm just like, I can't, especially him, because he got the most of me as a crazy person.
Yeah.
Sure.
Right? So he was 16 by the time he got 16 years of his dad being a crazy person. And for him to come out the way he has, he is such an incredible human being.
Good for you.
You know, and that's all God, because his mom, well, I won't say how long it took her, but around the same amount of years for me until she started to get her stuff together. Probably a few more years sooner. If there's any part that gets deleted, it should probably be that. The fact that my son...
Mark that.
Yeah.
That'll be a reel.
The fact that my son came out the way he did, and then he sets the tone for his younger brother.
Sure.
I know my 3 girls are gonna rock me for sure.
Oh yeah.
I'm getting used to that.
I'm letting you know.
Oh my goodness, I know that's gonna be tough.
Yep.
But because I can't, the girls can't do any wrong. And Alana's like, you give them whatever they want. But the boys do. I want the boys to experience struggle, pain. Like sometimes I just want to create some trauma for them for no reason.
There's a
but
book.
my daughters,
there's a parenting book about creating trauma, healthy trauma in your kid's life.
Yeah, man.
Like you don't want your kid. They got to go through some struggles.
Something.
I mean, I watch Sahar, parent.
Oh, I love it.
And I was like. Now, that was just like a video. You didn't really make her push the bike all the way home,
like, hell yeah,
right? Like you eventually let her
I'm pretty
put
sure
the car
the whole way
in the bike in the car, right? And me, this is just,
At least she stayed by her though.
She did. I mean, she with the camera.
She
out
should have
down
left.
the window, keep going.
She
You
should
got
have
this,
left.
girl.
Yeah.
Should have left.
Me, my 15-year-old calls, and she's like literally a block away from the house, and her e-bike ran out of battery.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm down there with the truck picking her up.
No, there's no way I wouldn't. Yeah, with my sons, yes, but my daughters, no, they could do no wrong.
I was like, mine happened before the Sahara thing.
Yeah,
I might have thought differently after watching that one. But
yeah,
my kids like never check their e-bikes before they take off on them.
I mean, the fact that we even have e-bikes, come on.
Good for
what? I'm sorry, but I see sometimes
they're
these
flying.
Guys, yes.
They're
well, now
flying.
everybody's got those
I'm like,
e-bikes
what
that
in the
like can
world?
do wheelies and they go like
No, these
40,
kids are
50
taking
miles
off.
an hour. You know, it's like, man, to be a kid again. I just
No, we haven't-
without the social media though, I don't need any of that because my life on social media as a child would have been all
my
bad.
goodness.
Oh
all
my God, it would be
bad.
terrible.
But anyways, man, this has been a really great podcast.
Thank you guys.
Really
Thank
good
you guys.
experience.
Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
everything.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah, I
incredible.
appreciate it. It's been an honor to speak and to be here, and to be in a space of individuals who really care so much about others and have a true, sincere commitment to helping people rise through the addictions, the really evils. Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Is these evil energies that can grab hold of people's lives, and I think it's up to us to let people know, like, hey, that's not you. That's just the world messing with you. You're better than that. You're stronger than that. There's something else that's meant for you. So if I could add to that mission a bit, man. But what you guys are doing here is truly incredible. So keep it up.
No,
Thank you.
for coming
Yeah.
in.
Thanks for coming in.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Your ring, David German.